Raconteurs News is 2018. I'm fucking set 2018 down into 2018. Wanker. It's like radio people. What the BBC tell us isn't what the Queen wants us to believe. Then just think of that and, think about who benefits. Because at the bottom of everything is somebody benefiting from something somewhere. And there's one thing for sure. It fucking ain't me. And it ain't you. When it's happening again. 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 Now, towards them to sign out, then you get a dog, or a wolf, or a spider, or a snake. How can you get a snake to be the same species as a dog? It's easy. You call the species that bites you. Weird. That bites you. Yeah. That bites you. Okay. Yeah, you've got a choice. Yeah. Yeah, you've got a choice. Yeah. Yeah, you've got a choice. Yeah, you've got a choice. Well, you want a punch in the face or a kick in the bollocks? Jesus. So what did you want to talk about? Bollocks. Yes, Jason's bollocks. No bills of exchange. There's not much I'm interested in fucking cricket. I mean, that's sort of a modicum of intelligence, would you see, buddy? Exactly. Overthinkers. Overthinkers. Which one of us are you going to propose to this evening? A load of men who don't have sex. Yeah. Good evening, welcome to Raconteurs News. It is, let me just, you can't see top of my head, my baldness, so there you go, oh, that's better. Good evening, welcome to Raconteurs News. It's Monday night, it's the 11th of March, 2019. 2019, still can't get used to saying that, and by the time I do, it'll probably be over, and I'll have to say 2020, won't I? Either that or I'll be dead. We all live in hope. Anyway, good evening. Hope you've had a good day, a good weekend, and hope everything's cool on your part. As usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Paul Webster. Good evening, Paul. How are you, my friend?
Hello. I'm very well, thanks, Jason. Enjoying another 2 weeks of holidays at the minute, so planning on doing a lot of chilling, and we've obviously, you knew I had a bit of work on last week. We had a tribunal hearing last week, which went perfectly well. It was a real insight. Really enjoyed it. There's a lot of things happening at the minute.
There is a lot of things happening, isn't there? And I really think we can't go the introduction without addressing the smack rat in the room, as it were. We've had a little bit of flack. I mean, we got quite a lot of compliments on last week's show. It was great to have Andy and Adi back on with us. But we've had a little bit of, particularly on your page, and I don't really go on Facebook very much, and so I've not really seen it. Andy brought it to my attention today. But apparently we're nonces.
Apparently so, yeah. Yeah, apparently so.
All sorts, aren't we? Yeah. So
from a smack rat pit yacker that can, how this man looks himself in the mirror and brings his own children up with his mentality. That there's nothing up there, mate. I've heard his rants. I mean, some of the stuff he's been talking about this week on his videos, I'm thinking, what fucking reality do you actually live in, mate? It just makes me fucking laugh, and it's sad that there's people like that out there. He had 3 fucking shows. The Lee Garrett fucking show, whatever the fucking nonce his name is. I haven't got a clue what his name is. Because there's 3 profiles. Danny Graves, that's him as well, I think.
Danny, is it Graves?
Graves. It's Groves.
Groves. I don't
yeah.
Accent, but
it's the accent, mate. It's Danny Graves.
If anybody wants to find him on Facebook, I just wanted to get it right. So if anybody wants to find him on Facebook and show their appreciation, any of our listeners, then Danny Groves is one of them.
Dave Smith's the other one. He's got a big, well ripped man as his profile picture. So that probably lets us in a bit of an insight into him. But yeah, yeah, we have to address it because the smack rat's decided that he's decided to try and make a name for himself, and you know the state of him. I just hope his kids don't see it because it'd be an embarrassment.
Well, I mean, he referred to me as Stumpy, which, you know, fucking, I couldn't give a fuck. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you this, everybody. I just wanted to show everybody this. I've got trousers on, and I just look like a normal person. So I'm just going to stand back a bit so you can see me. Right, so there you go. Can you see? Let's have a look there. There you go. Look, I look like a normal fucking dude.
Mate, it doesn't matter how many pair of pants on, you don't look normal, pal.
Yeah, but yeah, listen, fucking Gary, if you want to call me Stumpy, you know, try and think of something a little bit better than that. You know, have a little bit of comedy. You know, comedy these days.
You're giving him too much credit, mate. You're giving him too much credit.
He's obviously got no in his between his ears, and it's obvious that the nosebleeds that he keeps having is probably from the cocaine he keeps fucking stuffing up his nose.
More than likely.
Smack rat dick fucking wanker. So there you go, Lee. Hello, Lee. We'll carry on broadcasting to our 20 listeners, and you can carry on. You're probably listening anyway. So hi, Lee. That's what a guy, you know, who's only got one leg walking looks like. So excellent. Anyway, we've got a good guest tonight, haven't we? You've another one you've sourced, another guy that you've bumped into. I think on Facebook, I did see the first interaction. I think so. Why don't you give us an introduction to if there's anything else you want to add to the fucking smack rat thing? You know, I think he's had enough time.
I think we're done with the dick like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll introduce Scott. His Facebook name is Scott Bullet. Scott's going to come on and talk about not only his awakening to what this reality is and what started him off, but he'll also be touching on subjects that are close to home, as in dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that. So I'd rather Scott introduce himself and start from the beginning. So if you can unmute your mic, Scott.
And introduce. There you go.
There you go. So Scott, start where you want to start, mate. You know, give us a bit of background about yourself and what's led you to where you are today.
You hear me okay, yeah?
Yeah, that sound that.
Just a normal bloke, single, no kids, just over 50 years old. Into motorbikes. Had my own business, minding my own business. Was quite happy to sit and watch telly and, you know, work to go racing and do what 90% of the population do.
Yeah.
Until one day, I've come home from work. Mum and I lived opposite each other in the same street. And I went over to see her one day. There's people in her house. Now, we had an up and down relationship, my mum and I, you know, but you know, we still loved each other. So I've gone into the house to go and see her. When I come home to let the dogs out, and with people in the house, I heard voices, you know. And as I walked down the hall, words stuck out was respite. Something I'd never heard of before, respite. It turned out to be respite. I'd got it wrong. I thought it was respite. You know what I mean? And I wondered what respite was. So I've gone in, and I thought they would have been like, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses or something like that. You know. And there's four ladies, I think, in there. I've gone, I said, hello guys, you alright? Who are you? And they said, oh, we're Local Solutions. I said, Local Solutions, what are they? Well, we're caring for your mum. I said, are you really? Yeah. All right. So when this come about, like, and they all like looked at each other, and this one said, hasn't social services contacted you? I said, they haven't, no. give us a number. So they said, oh, well, give us your number. So I gave him my number, and eventually social services contacted me. And that was the start of my awakening, pretty much. As it transpires, 11 and a half months earlier, my mother had been diagnosed with dementia, vascular dementia. And when I met with the social worker and she told me this, I mean, my first question, I'm sure you have to agree, was, why didn't anyone tell me?
Yeah.
And the answer was, your mum said she didn't want you telling. And at the time, you had capacity to make that decision.
That's a real contradiction, that, isn't it?
It's a conflict of interest, isn't it?
Yeah, diagnosed with dementia, but she's of sound mind to make decisions.
To tell, not to tell any of the family, you know.
Did any of this start? Was there any property that was going to be involved in this?
Well, of course, yeah. She owned her own house, my mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, she owned her own house.
No wonder they were trying to make sure you weren't in the way.
Absolutely. And on a subject access request, I got some. I think they gave it to me by mistake as well. It was clear in September, the year before I knew, that they knew about me. So, you know.
So they had no excuse not to contact you, really?
No, none whatsoever. None whatsoever. Well, you know, I was in shock at first. I met with the social worker and I said to her, look, you know, can I show you these films? Because it's got to the stage now where I go over and my mum's just having a go at me all the time. Now, she did have a bit of a drink problem. And if anyone's lived with dementia, it's hard to tell the difference when someone's having a go at you, whether they're losing their mind or they're drinking, you know?
Yeah.
And when this goes on your whole life, you kind of walk in, you look, you know what's going to happen, you turn around, you walk back out.
Mm.
You know, so that's unfortunately why I never really got onto it. You know?
It's things with families as well, though, isn't it? I mean, you always look back and think, should I have seen that? Could I have said this? You know, I had it with myself when I lost my dad. He heard the words, I hate you, come out of my mouth. They were the last words he heard me say. He never came back from that. But he heard me say those words every day to him because, you know, we just didn't get on. He didn't want to watch Danger Mouse and I did.
Listen, Scott, we're just having one or two people are saying in the chat room that they're having a little bit different. Sorry, they're having a little bit of a problem hearing you. I'm wondering if you can get closer to the microphone.
How's that?
That's better.
Is that better?
That's a lot better. It's a lot clearer. Yeah. Sorry about that, mate. No worries. It's just that
you know, with the speakers, like.
Yeah, no worries. No, that's perfect. That's
that camera bit the dust. You see, it's in pieces. That camera, it's gone.
No worries, mate. So
my day today has been, if you can imagine a scenario, of a field and a post in the middle of the field, and you're running around the perimeter of the field, but you hit the post.
Has it been one of those days, has it?
Yeah.
So obviously social services had started to poke the noses in and stuff like that. Where was this now going to be taken? And what time period are we talking now? What year?
I mean, Christ, I mean, within, what was it, February, like 2 months, within 2 months, I was, basically, they threw accusations that I was committing fraudulent money activity and neglecting my mum. Now, when I realised my mum had dementia, the first thing that I needed to do, right, was to sort out her care and sort out her finances, right? So I took her down to the bank, I took her down to the bank. Now that I knew she had dementia, I took the liberty of opening a mail. And on the Tuesday there was a letter from the Barclays Bank, and then on the Wednesday there was a letter from the post office. And the Barclays Bank was overdrawn, and the energy companies kept trying to take the money, and the money was coming out, and then it was getting put back in. I don't know what was going on. It was a bit crazy. I didn't really understand it. And then a post office account had thousands and thousands of pounds in it. Not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, just thousands and thousands of pounds. So the first thing I did is I took it down to the post office with the Barclays statements and said to them, can you do us a favour and transfer all these direct debits over so everything's can start getting paid again? And the post office said, no, we can't do that. Because it's just a paying in account only. So what you need to do now is go to Barclays. We'll shut the account and we'll put the money into Barclays. I said, okay, sound, perfect. They said, have you got lasting power of attorney? I said, what's that? So they explained to me I needed to go and get lasting power of attorney. So I contacted the DWP, and a manager came out, and we had a meeting, and I explained to her what had gone on, and she was happy to put me in charge of the finances. So the next time I seen the social worker, I told the social worker what I'd done. Yeah? She's gone home. She's gone back to the office then, rang the DWP and had me removed.
Had you removed from what?
From controlling my mum's finances. And they took control of my mum's finances. And they also contacted the bank and froze mum's bank account.
Had she signed anything?
No, nothing was signed. No, nothing. They just went ahead and did that.
Mm.
Well, I had my own business, so you know, I just looked after it. Basically, I paid away. I fed it. I clothed it, as you do. You know, as you do. And obviously, when we got a bank card, you know, I've been down to the bank and touched them. We got a bank card, and I went down to the machine. And it swallowed the card, you know. So I went into the bank the next day, said, the card's been swallowed, what's going on? And the guy said, something, we've been in touch with, social services have been in touch. And you need to get in touch with the Court of Protection. So he said, the account's frozen and you need to get in touch with the Court of Protection.
Right.
So I got back and got on the phone to the social worker. Lost the plot with her, screamed and shouted at her. So did my mum. Mum said, where's my money? You know, I want my money. She was all apologetic, but nothing got done about it. So for nearly 10 months, I fed and clothed mum, looked after her. No involvement from social services, no treatment, no nothing, no medication, no nothing.
Did you get control back of the finances?
No, couldn't get control back of the finances.
I don't understand that.
Well, I don't understand it, but this is what happened.
They must have given you some explanation.
I had the finger pointed at me for fraudulent money activity. The social services had a meeting with the DWP. The police were involved. We got the police there. The police told them that I had a criminal record. It was not to do with fraud or anything like that. But they, you know, popped the little law in, no, he's got a criminal record, and they decided that they were going to freeze the accounts, and that's what they did.
Wow.
Yeah. So, in December of 2015, I get a letter from the council saying that they are appointed deputies to my mother's finances, and they'll be applying to the Court of Protection to take control of the finances. So I called a meeting. After that meeting, we'd agreed that I open a bank account and they start paying money into the bank account, you know what I mean? So I can feed and clothe my mum. And refunded me, you know, my expenses, because I kept all the receipts and that. And once I realised what was going on, you know, I decided to keep all the receipts.
Yeah.
You know, to prove that, you know, we were doing a good job. Anyway, eventually, my mum got bad and I moved her in with me. So I did my house up, made it dementia safe, and moved her in with me. This is in 2017, and one day I get a phone call from the carer saying that my mum had threatened to stab her. and she wasn't going back in the house. And first thing I did was rang my father's girlfriend who'd worked in the industry and told her what they'd said, and she said that they're going to section me mum. They've done it on purpose. They're going to section me mum. So I looked up on what sectioning was, and to be fair, I was on my own. She was getting worse. She wasn't getting any treatment. GP hadn't been in touch. There was no treatment, no medication, no nothing. And she was getting worse. So I sectioned her myself.
You sectioned her?
I sectioned her.
Big mistake, but go on.
No, it wasn't a big mistake. Serious, it wasn't. It really was the best thing at the time. There's only me and mum, you see. There was no one else. There was only my mum and I. No other family. I was running a business, So, I was getting to the point where, I couldn't cope. So she got sectioned. While she was sectioned, I looked for a home for her, found a place, and she qualified. Now, if there's anyone, all the listeners here now, you need to jot this down. She qualified for a thing called Section 117 Aftercare.
Okay.
Right, and that's basically the care gets part funded by the local authority and part funded by the NHS, but fully funded in total, yeah?
Okay.
And she went into a nursing home, which at first was all right. But there's a lot of things that have gone on with social services, and when my mum got accepted to the home, they called us in to the home and told me how wonderful they were, etc., etc., etc. And then at the end of it, they turned around and said, "We don't tolerate any abusive behaviour." To me, that rang an alarm. What would you say that for, So I asked them, what have you said that for? Well, social services had told them that I was aggressive and I assaulted a member of their staff. And
had you assaulted a member of their staff?
No, I hadn't. What happened there is they'd made an appointment with me to come round and check my mum. So I was there and I opened the door and I let the two ladies in. And they went into the kitchen to see me mum. And then the first thing my mum started going on about was her money, yeah? Where's my money? I want my money. And started getting upset. So I tried to change the subject and said, respite. Do us a favour. I said, tell me mum what respite is, trying to thing. And they were like, well, what? I said, well, it's like, it's like a halfway house before they go into actual full-time care, isn't it? It's to give, families a break from each other. But it generally is a halfway house in a situation like dementia because it doesn't get any better. And this woman said to me, stop shouting. I said, I'm not shouting at you, love. She said, yeah, you are. I said, I'm not. She goes, yeah, you are. I said, do you know what? I thought to myself, do you know what? Who are you speaking to? I said, I'll tell you what, love, right? I think it's time you left. Because you're upsetting me mum. My mum's upset. She was, mum's shouting. Oh, while this is going on, my mum's shouting, where's my money? I said, your presence is upsetting me, mum. I think it's time you leave. I'm not leaving, she said. I said, aren't you know? All right. I said, okay, well, look, by law, yeah, I can ask you 3 times to leave, and then I can use reasonable force to get you to leave.
Right.
So, leaving. I said, okay, I'm going to ask you, can you leave, please? She goes, I'm not leaving. I said, get out of the house. She goes, I'm not leaving. So I walked round to the back of the chair. And as she's gone to get up, I pulled the chair and she fell backwards and landed on a bump.
Right, so you pulled chair from under her?
I didn't pull the chair from under her, no.
Well, if she's gone to sit down and you...
No, she was sat down. She's gone to get up.
Right, okay.
She's gone to get up. And as she's gone to get up, I pulled the chair and she fell back. It's not... I didn't mean it for her to fall on the floor, but it happened. And the police were called and statements were made and no further action came of it.
The thing is that they'll look for anything to make you look a darker character than what you are. Anyway,
anything.
The fact is, I I'm lost with how they managed to take control of all this stuff without.
You just do it. It's down to your birth certificate. You know this, Paul, don't you? It's down to the birth certificate, you know. But I can cover that later. You know, the fact that you're dead, you're lost at sea, and that's, you know, again, this is the awakening. Because I'm all the time, like you saying, how can they do this? How can I just be totally invisible? How can anything I say just be totally ignored? And how can they just carry on regardless?
Really, the reason why they're so aggressive is because your mum's got equity.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they want. It's all about property grab. This.
Exactly.
It's too easy. It's fish in a barrel. Your mum's not so well. They know that now they can, you know, that their ultimate path would be to get her onto pathways eventually. And that's what's disgusting about this so-called care system.
It's fraud, man. It's fraud. It's fraud on a massive scale. And it's not just me. I mean, my group on Facebook, Dementia Fraud. That's my group.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, bear in mind, I'm a normal bloke. I've got my own business fixing motorbikes, and I work to go racing. I don't bother no one. Yeah. Why would I all of a sudden have a YouTube channel called Public Sector Jobs Works and a Facebook group called Dementia Fraud? You can't just make that shit up, can you? You know, do you know what I'm going to do? In between my normal life, while I'm just working and going racing, I'm going to create two groups with names that you just can pull out of the sky, you know, because I'm a weirdo, you know.
So where are you at now with your mum? Obviously, she's
passed away, mate. I mean, this is, you know.
So what happened then? How has that now moved on? Because obviously after the house.
Let's tell you what happened. She went into the care home, yeah.
Yeah.
And the next thing, they tried to stop me from seeing my mum. So they've applied to the Court of Protection for a health and welfare, yeah. And that's to stop me from seeing her, right? So in 3 months, I've learned a bit about Magna Carta and common law. And I've gone to the Court of Protection and I've entered the vessel under common law jurisdiction, and I've asked him for his oath of office and everything, yeah? And then they start reading from the bundle, and I've gone, hey, whoa, where's my bundle? Hey, where's my bundle? This is the 3rd time now. They haven't given me a bundle. How can you expect me to come? So anyway, they've got this, oh Christ, a special solicitor that they bring in. They'd appointed. Pardon?
The QC?
No, to deal with my mum's affairs. Oh, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but this solicitor's at the court and everything. I need to just backtrack a minute. After the directional hearing, which is on my YouTube channel, after the directional hearing, I bought a new car, and I was driving down a road, and there's this car behind me, yeah, and it's swerving. And it's caught my attention, and I'm looking and thinking, who the fucking hell's this? Well, cut a long story short, it's only the judge, innit? Yeah?
Okay.
You have the directional hearing. He's followed me, and then he's turned off when I've got onto him. Right? So at the hearing in June, when they tried to stop me from seeing it, right, and I've made a big fuss about the bundle, and the prosecution are flapping, running around the court, flapping. I've visibly got them flapping. I've got a load of witnesses with me. The judge is flapping. He's going, can't you all just go outside and have a chat? You know. So I said, well, go on then, yeah. And as I'm walking out, he said to me, well, I won't see you after this then, will I? And I've said to him, oh, you will, yeah, because we've got property and affairs next. So he goes out, we has the chat, and we comes back in, and woe behold, guess what? They don't try and stop me from seeing it, and there's no restrictions, right? So things are carrying on, and, you know, I'm being watched, though, you know, I'm being watched and whatnot. And, you know, anyway, the next thing that gets through the post, right, an application by the council to the Court of Protection for my mum's property and affairs. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you remember earlier, I mentioned about Section 117 aftercare. Yeah, her care was being funded, 100% fully funded. So is it not a conflict of interest that they should be going after her property and affairs?
Well, you would imagine so, wouldn't you?
And would it not be a conflict of interest for the judge to allow the hearing to go ahead, knowing in full knowledge that a care is being funded?
It's
not necessarily, because they would be able to apply under the commercial aspect, because they've only got jurisdiction over that property as long as they deal with it as commercial. That's why you're being ignored, Scott. They don't need you even there. They'll just transfer that property, take it, and do what they like with it, and then they'll apply for those funds to be reimbursed. It's only because your mum's been. It's almost like what you were talking about with the trust. It's like the trust is funding your mum's care, but the people want to compensate your mum. She shouldn't be funding it, type thing. So
that's what
that's what they're doing. They're stealing it back. They're stealing it back off your mum to give it back to your mum. But obviously, people don't realise how this works.
Well, I think it's a conflict of interest. If the care is being funded, you shouldn't go for the house. That's
what the problem is. This is a property grab. You know, it's Agenda 21, 2030.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, right? A date was set, right? And on the very day I'm driving to court, travelling, yeah, to court. I've got to go. I live in Birkenhead, yeah? The court is in Liverpool. So you've got to go through the tunnel, yeah, under the river, right? I'm travelling through the tunnel. I'm a little bit late. I get pulled at the other end of the tunnel, as I'm on the exit of the tunnel, by the tunnel police, who are a private corporation, because they're run by a company called Mersey Travel. They've only got jurisdiction in the tunnel, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls me. He says, first thing he said to me, are you the registered keeper of this vehicle? I said, I am, yeah, but I don't own it. Queen owns it. Well, yeah, I'm the registered vehicle. Oh, well, you flagged up on the ANPR for no insurance. I said, okay. The car's not on the MID because I've only just bought it and I've got a lot going on. So I've not put the car on the MID. So as a consequence of that, Constable, right, there's my insurance policy there. It's a trade insurance policy. Go and park in the car park. I said, okay. 15 minutes I'm waiting, yeah? He doesn't ask to see my license. Nothing. Doesn't come back, ask to see my license or anything, yeah? Just goes away with my insurance policy. And I told him I was going to court, yeah? I said, listen, buddy, I'm going to court, so, you know, can you be quick? And anyway, 15 minutes, I get out the car, I goes into his office. He's just stood there, leaning against the counter, talking to his mates. Spun round, shit himself. Boom. I said, hey, mate, I'm going to court, yeah? You know where I'm going. You know where I am. If you've got a problem, you can come and get me, can't you? Keep hold of my insurance policy, yeah? I'll come and pick it up on the way back. Yeah? So I get to the court, and guess what? Guess what?
Go on.
The council never turned up.
Right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, right? The next day, the same tunnel popper comes to my place of business, telling me he wanted me to go for wants me to go in for a voluntary interview. Right? So when I asked him what for, he wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't tell me.
Well, then you should say, well, what,
so I said,
what
well,
did
I'm
you
not
say?
going. So he spat his dummy out and went away. And then 5 minutes later, 5 police cars and 8 police constables turn up, and then the same 2 bozos from the tunnel police turn up. They've made an emergency assistance call. That's on the YouTube channel as well, by the way.
What is your YouTube channel called?
Public Sector Jobs Worths.
Public Sector Jobs Worths.
Yeah. I took all the videos down, bar the ones that have over 1,000 hits. There was a load on there, but I took most of them down. But the good ones are on there. Anyway, right, after 20 minutes of being threatened with arrest and everything, yeah, he eventually told me, right, that following a disqualification 12 years ago, an order had been made for me to sit an extended driving test, right? And he checked, and I hadn't sat an extended driving test, right? But guess what? The order had never been issued, right? It wasn't told to me in court, right? It was never issued to the DVLA, right? I applied for a driving license and got a full driving license, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, basically, right, what's happened is somebody went into my personal protective sensitive data, yeah, found this order somehow, with all the court records being destroyed over that period of time. The court records were destroyed. I've got it confirmed by the CCRC and by emails from the police, yeah. He's found this thing and he's given this information to the tunnel police only. Yeah?
Yeah.
With strict instructions, because the constable that stopped me says at 21 minutes past 9, I was given intelligence that a car would be travelling through the tunnel from Birkenhead to Liverpool, full stop. It stated also that the vehicle did not have insurance policy in place. Right?
Yeah.
So what they said, right, is after they stopped me, they did a PNC check. And this conflicting information had come up, right? But I was stopped plenty of times prior to that. And the last time I was stopped was the very day I bought the new car. It's a fast car, and he'd come after me because I bombed it off the traffic lights. And I was sat in the back of his police car for 40 minutes, yeah? And he did all the checks because I couldn't remember my previous registration number or everything, yeah? I was sat in the car for 40 minutes, and he did all the checks, and then he let me go, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, I've got an email from the tunnel police sent to Merseyside police at 11:15 saying, no, from Merseyside police thanking someone from tunnel police for the information, and we're going to put the car on the ANPR back on the ANPR hot list. That's what it says, right? So I rang the guy's inspector. She admitted that they were given the evidence, and we were talking about the license at the time. I've got it recorded, and she admits they were given the evidence at the time of the stop. The constable who stopped me admits he was given intelligence at 21 minutes past 9. He didn't stop me till 10 o'clock. What was he doing for 40 minutes?
Waiting for you to turn up by the sounds of it.
Yeah, and then their legal team, when I sent them a SAR asking who was the informant, yeah, came back saying there was no informant, you were caught on the ANPR camera.
But why were you on the ANPR camera?
But I wasn't on the ANPR camera. Someone gave them information saying, pull him, he's got no license. They've done a check and it's come back that I've got a license. And it's come back though that it's been took off the ANPR because the car's not on the MID. Because I hadn't put it on the MID because I was too busy fighting court cases for me mum.
The MIB, is that the motor insurance
database, MID.
I thought you automatically went on that anyway.
No, not when you got a trader's policy. You've got to put the vehicles on there.
Right, so you've got a trader's policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mate, someone went to my record, gave the information to the tunnel police and tried to stop me from getting to court, yeah?
Yeah.
Bottom line, right? Bottom line. Because I even think that the council was sat in the...
So did they try and skip off the fact that they'd been given the information and waited for you to pull you, to delay you, or did they then change the story and then say you was on camera and then the two stories conflicted?
No. He's put in his statement. He was given intelligence that the car would be driving through the tunnel, full stop.
Yeah, you say you pulled that.
There's one side of it. And then he goes on to say, it stated also the vehicle did not have a valid insurance policy in place. It stated also as an add-on. So what's the first bit of information, the first bit of intelligence? Where did this come from? It was never issued. How was it found? Isn't it a coincidence? Isn't it a coincidence how it imagines all the court records are destroyed, and all of a sudden it miraculously appears the day I'm going to court to protect my mother's property and affairs, and it gets given to a private corporation first, who then give it to Merseyside police.
I can see why they were delaying you because obviously they're stealing the house.
And if I hadn't made it there, they would have run in and made the decision. Because what would have happened if I hadn't turned up, boys? What would have happened?
Summary judgment.
Exactly.
Because they would have got it. That's why they didn't bother turning up. That's why they didn't turn up, because they'd got summary judgment whether or not. So that was the reason. They were never going to turn up. They just wanted to see if you were going to turn up. And obviously, it sounds like they. Sorry?
You were going to turn up. That's why they set a trap for me in the tunnel.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's they do fight dirty. These.
But this is what they did for an 80 grand estate, boys.
They've done it for less, mate. They've done it for less. Like I've told the story a few times about Michelle Young. She's worth 800 billion, mate, and she can't get anybody to represent her.
N208, mate. N208 form.
Anyway,
that's what you do now to make claim. My job now is to get that copper who stopped me, N208 him. I'm going to get him into court. And he can answer me questions.
Yeah, it's.
See, what did the informant say? Right, when someone from the tunnel police turned round to him and said, "Have you informed Merseyside police about this? Why are you telling us?"
Yeah,
Mm.
It's in the name of justice.
Yeah. What were you going to say then, Jason? Is there what's happening in the chat room?
I was just going to do that actually. I was just going to say hello to everyone in the chat room. He's in there. Super Leeds is in there. Andy is in there. Ron, Malcolm, Tony, who's Dot, and 11258 Stewie as well is in there. There's the chat room's just having its own conversation as normal, as usual. So hello to everybody in there. And if you've got any questions, we've got you're listening to Raconteurs News. I better tell you, aren't I? You're listening and watching watching Raconteurs News in colour. Been a couple of conversations. I've turned the light off behind me, as you can see, because it was putting people about, and I think we've lost a couple of viewers who've gone into epileptic fits. Somebody also pointed out the unicorn as well behind me. Yes, that's a unicorn. It's one of them things that you put a candle in and some gunge in top, and it makes a scent and stuff like that. And a couple of tea lights as well. So it's not some Bohemian Grove sort of fucking thing that I'm doing here.
You've not started a cult or anything in Sheffield, have you?
No, I've not started a cult.
There's a few cults over there.
There's a few cunts in fucking Gateshead. We talked about. We've got our guest with us tonight. He's telling us all about and I don't want to be disrespectful, but it does sound fanciful. But as somebody who's been on the receiving end of similar sort of stuff, and someone with a similar story that probably other people would say, "Fuck off," I completely understand that. So we've got your mother was in. She had dementia, and they took the power of attorney away from you. You were controlling the finances as you would do with a parent. In fact, one of my friends' mum's just died of dementia, and I know that he spent a lot of time looking after her. And so, they took away the authority from you to be able to deal with your own mother's financial affairs. And then it seems that after your mum has sadly died, and then and afterwards, it seems that there's sort of like a wanting to have the rest of what they didn't get when she was alive, and it's a lot of collusion, isn't it?
It's a lot of collusion. I mean, at this point of the court case, my mum wasn't dead.
Oh, right, okay. Sorry about that.
A new date was set, which was too far away. And I contacted the judge's clerk, and she brought it forward. But in that time, my mum was allowed to dehydrate and sadly passed away.
Pathways.
But work with them, don't they? And put the cause of death as vascular dementia. But she was rushed to hospital. And when I asked the hospital, when I went up to see her and asked the hospital what was going on with this water infection that I kept being told about, yeah, for months and months. Oh, she's got a water infection. This is why she keeps falling over and whatnot. Yeah, she's got a water infection. When I asked the nurse in the ward, she said she's not got a water infection. She's dehydrated. How can you dehydrate in care home?
It's called pathways.
Yeah, Liverpool care pathway. Yeah. You see, they killed her to avoid liability. My opinion.
Yeah, I see. People don't draw the line at it and look at it like that, because, you know, they have this white coat thing. You know, somebody puts a white coat on Scott and tells her, oh, it's vascular dementia. People believe that because they've got a white coat on. My mum, I was told that my mum died from a perforated ulcer, but the surgery went perfect. It's just that they couldn't stitch her back up because she contracted MRSA whilst in the hospital. And that's what she died from. She died from MRSA. But they're never going to put that on a death certificate.
No.
So okay, so the court case went through. You've been at that point. They've given you another court case. So
yeah, my mum passed
take it
away,
from there.
so it just it never went ahead. They did the court case. And
so did they just take the house then?
No, the property's mine, mate. The property's mine.
Right, so they didn't get their hands on the house?
No, they didn't get their hands on the house, no.
Right.
No. But
I know that's what they're after.
But when my mum went into care, is it not fair to say that, seeing as the council were financial deputies, yeah, they'd inform the DWP, yeah? And tell them, would that not be fair to say? Don't give us any more money because she's in care. Financial protection team. Well, I'm not being funny, right? But me personally, if I was in a financial protection team and someone's finances I was looking after went into care and the care was being funded completely differently, I'd contact the DWP and tell them the care is being funded under Section 117 aftercare. She's gone in on this date, so don't send us any more payments. Well, anyway, she didn't. She said she did by telephone. Yeah, this head of finances, but she didn't. So when my mum passed away, right, I got a check off the council. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So next thing, I get a letter off the DWP saying we've overpaid your mum. So we've only got control of one bank account, bear in mind, yeah? Her bank account's frozen. And then when she passed away, obviously, well, not obviously, but when she passed away, I found out off the bank it was never frozen. Yeah? I was just told that. And anyway, the account got closed and, you know, I got the money. And
so the account wasn't frozen at all?
The account wasn't frozen at all, apparently.
They just told you it was frozen.
It was frozen, yeah.
Did you not try to and go in or try to use
listen, my main concern was my mum's health.
I know, I completely understand that.
I had money to look after her. I did, you know what I mean? I was just looking after me mum. I thought, fuck you, if that's what you want to do, fine. Bollocks to you.
So you didn't bother looking into it any further, you just decided, you just moved on.
Yeah, just moved on.
Yeah.
The best thing, why stress over something when you've got a bigger stress, your mum fading away in front of you.
So what did you do about it once you found out that it hadn't been frozen?
Well, she's dead. I haven't done anything yet.
Right, so that's what we're up to then. We're right up to
the is there taking something to court for fraud. There's no time limit on it.
No, there's no
time limits on other things, but there's no time limits on fraud. I'm gonna get my day with them. My day with them. I've recorded everything, you know, everything. I've recorded conversations, everything. I've recorded all kinds of things.
So how long has this gone? What was that? So it's 3 years. So within before that, were you just like doing what everybody else has been doing? You know, paying bills and ducking under radars and things like that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, something comes and kicks you in the balls and punches you in the face.
This was it. How can you just try and take my mum's house? You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I've
The bottom
seen
line, like, the DWP, now they sent me a letter again today. You've got 3 options. I've got 3 fingers. The middle one's yours. Yeah. Right. Your options are: no money went into any account in control of my mum and I. It went to Wirral Council. You need to go and get that money back off Wirral Council and let Wirral Council come to me and ask me for the money. Yeah.
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 I mean, you'll be able to get bank statements and anything to see whether the money paid in there. But
I've got it all. I've got it all, man. I've got it all. All the money went into the Wirral Council's bank account. If they're stupid enough to give it to me, well, they weren't stupid enough to give it to me. What they did is they give it to me on purpose, thinking I'd spend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they can come after my assets then, can't they?
Yeah, they put charges on properties and everything.
Yeah. Well,
they're not stupid, these people.
No, they're horrible. They're horrible, mate.
They are, mate.
They're horrible.
That's putting it mildly. These people. I mean, I would hesitate to say I don't know how they sleep at night, but I think they sleep like babies.
Well, you notice my coat of arms there? Yeah, I'm in a private estate and trust now.
Yeah, what, an express private trust?
No, ecclesiastical.
Right.
Under canon law, and ecclesiastical law. It's
So
private.
How did you set that up? When did you do that?
It went live in June last year.
So how does that work with bills and that? Do you still get bills in your name?
I'm getting bills. I should just, well, I was paying them, and now I've decided, well, you're not getting paid. And I'm in cahoots now with them all. Your gas, your water, your lecky. It's free. It's your God-given right. It's free.
Well, it's
free.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not. It doesn't quite work like that because of this debt-based thing, but it is It's already paid.
I'm a creditor, you see. I'm not a debtor. I'm a creditor.
Yeah, but you've been paying bills, so you've made this situation worse. We all have. If you pay a bill, you promise to do something with the debt, and you don't do anything with it. So they add interest, meaning the debt goes up.
Yeah.
The government step in with austerity. What you've got to do is you've got to set the debt off, which reduces the debt, and then there is no austerity. But we are taught to do that, though. We are taught to dig holes under ourselves. Our families, our parents teach us to pay bills that you can't pay. It's you've got to. People have got to wake up and learn something new. For God's sake, learn something new.
I stamped up. I've got stamps, obviously, in an estate, private estate. I've stamped up the bank gyro credit slips. Okay, I've endorsed them, and I've sent them off. We copied the Bills of Exchange Act.
Someone else said it, not you.
Pardon?
I'm just saying somebody else said it and not Webby. Webby's normally the one that brings up the Bills of Exchange. Now people in the chat room are on doing the web bingo.
Oh, it's on fire now.
We're nuts.
So yeah, and I've been
Jasingo.
I mean, boys, here's another thing for you, right? We rented Mum's house out because the idea was to help pay for the care with the rent, yeah? And I was going to top it up. So anyway, right, goes down, puts the tenants in there. It's in a landlord licensing area. I don't know if you've ever heard of that shit, have you? You got to have a license to rent a house out now.
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, they were a couple of years ago. They were something about it that it were going to put up and stuff. It were introduced. Yeah, you have to have a license to be. But I suppose they give them out willy nilly. It don't matter what sort of state
you pay for it, fella. It's 700 quid.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm saying, well, as soon as not long after my mum died, they got in touch. You need a license. I said, well, look, the house is in probate. Yeah. It's not in my name yet. Right. When it is, it's getting sold, right? And basically, I'm not consenting to your license. So they took me to court in my absence and fined me fucking $5,000, right? $5,000. Yeah. So the next thing, Marstons are on the ball now, aren't they? Oh, the license thing, yeah, the license thing as well. Let's just quickly cover over that. They went ahead, although there was no evidence of me being disqualified, and prosecuted me for driving whilst disqualified. So I had £5,700 worth of fines, yeah, Marston knocking at the door and that, yeah. We've sent some lawful notice, and Ask them for the warrant, you know, we'll accept you, you know, it's acceptance. It's all about acceptance, isn't it? It's all commerce. That's what it is. It's all in the private. Everything's private. That's why they ask you for your date of birth since 2008. It all went private. Why should a lecky company need your date of birth? Huh? Because they're taking the money. They're double dipping. They're double dipping. You're paying them, and then they're taking out your Sesca trust as well.
Yeah, we listen. Anybody who listen to this, we know that we absolutely know that what you're saying is completely right. It is a complete load. You seem to have a lot of bad luck. That's all I'm saying. You know, we've got. That's not all I'm saying. But I wanted to point out you seem to have had a lot of bad luck. I mean, driving whilst disqualified. It would seem that if you were wrongly convicted of that would be easy to remedy.
No, not when it's in the private, fella.
But we will disqualify
private prosecution on a Thursday, mate. I walked into the courtroom. Get on this. I walked into the courtroom. And I immediately said, I hereby convene a court of public record, right? The court went fucking mental. The judge started screaming at me. Oh, no, you don't. I said, well, I just have. I convene a court of public record. Next thing, he ran out the back. The clerk rang the security. Security and police came up and just fucking jumped on me, mate, assaulted me, dragged me down the cells, right? Then they brought me back up from the cells. Mr. Smythe, I said, there's no misters. My name is Scott. Well, you're not cooperating. Put me back down the cells again. Yeah? They brought me back up again. Tried to make me stand in the dock and everything. I wouldn't stand on the stand. I wouldn't read to swear the oath. I said, you can't swear an oath. I'll swear an oath, and I pulled my thing out to swear an oath on the King James Bible. He wouldn't let me read it out. And in the end, I said, you know what, mate? You crack on, yeah? Because it doesn't matter what I say to you. You crack on. I'll just appeal it. All my appeals got knocked back everything. Mate, it's a cover-up. Because I'll tell you now, it was the judge who went into my record, found that thing way before the 31st of August and kept hold of it, right? Knowing full well I was going to be going to court. I'm telling you.
There you go. There you go. I think
I'll go in there, one sec.
All right, okay. Well, that's a good segue into having a little break. We have a break anyway, an hour, and we're just about at an hour. So we're going to play a couple of records. So if you guys could mute your microphones, in the second hour we're going to be back with. There we go. With Scott and myself, Webby. You're listening to Raconteurs News. I'm going to play a couple of records from Heath, and we'll be back in the second half, and we'll be playing Jase Bingo as well. So here we go.
Hey, there knows that Jase. Which one? I remember him. Jason Stephen. Oh yeah, you hang around with long hair and that. Just look down. Yeah. Used to play some Yu-Gi-Oh with Bultman in the Oh, Jason. Yeah, that's it. Why did you have to shut Boswell? You did what? Why did you have to shut Boswell? Did the fingerer and all? Oh, Jason. You should have never shagged Boswell. I'm just trying to get to a sister, I bet. You should have never shagged Boswell. Shut up. Let's sing this Reddit song. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, Jason, don't you ever shag Boswell. Don't you ever shag Boswell. Shag her up the ass. Come on, everybody join in. Oh, Jason, why did you have to shag Boswell? Why did you have to shag Boswell? Shag her up the ass. Come on, Bob, join in. Oh, Jason, don't you ever shag Boswell? You don't you ever shag Boswell? Shag her up the ass. Come on, cats, come on, let's hear you singing. Oh, Jason, you should have never shagged Boswell. You should have never shagged Boswell. Shag her up the ass. Come on, the Queen, the Charles. Oh, Jason, Don't you ever say bonce. I should never have done it, man. Don't you ever say bonce. My move. Sugar up and fucking dirty bastard. Troy, slag. Starting to see a conspiracy been fooling me when I watch TV. They manufacture views all over the news. It's giving me the blues, and it's time to choose. Starting to wake up from this sleep, from all the lies they spread that run so deep. But I will lace no more. Who are they fighting for? It isn't me. But now I see there is a new world order, but we're not invited. So much blood and murder from the drones unsighted. World War III is haunting me. I've got to find a way to save my family. The human race has lost its way. We put our trust in science, but it's us who pay. Used to be civilized, but we've been compromised. We're on a one-way train. We've got to break this chain. Starting to see that we should be free. The powers that be want a piece of me. Should I do what they say or tell them go away? What is the price for freedom? Cause it sure ain't free. The time has come to raise the bar. There'll be nowhere to hide if there's a third world war. So let your voice be heard and let your heart decide to stand and fight for freedom while you've still got time. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Stand up, stand up. Stand up, stand up. Wake up, wake up. The time has come to fight. Wake up, wake up. Don't waste another night. Stand up. What are you waiting for? Stand up, stand up. Oh, the bullets soon be at your door.
Cheers, Heath. That is a couple of records from Heath. We played them, obviously, for the copyright infringements. We don't want to get that because then we get blocked. There's one particular show that got blocked because we played something in the middle of the night. The fucking cunts at fucking YouTube will not let me download it or do anything so that I can remove that from it. They're just utter cunt. Sorry, YouTube. No, you're not. You're our platform. You're doing something for us. You're awesome. We love you. It's just a shame that we can't do that because I would have liked to take the copyrighted stuff out and re-uploaded it. And I know the guy that we interviewed would like that as well. Anyway, welcome back to Raconteurs News. And just for the information for people in the chat room, it's Boswag and not Boswell. It's Boswag. So, and Jason, why did you shag Boswag? Well, I didn't, to be honest. But it would have been a trophy for me if I had, but I never did. Anyway, welcome back, Raconteurs News. We've got Webby with us and our guest as well. Webby, did you enjoy your intermission? Then I forgot to get this in a drink. I'm probably going to have to get up and do that, when in just a second. But Webby, did you enjoy your intermission?
I did enjoy my intermission. I've watered as well.
Watered, awesome. Well, anyway, we'll get on with our guest. Our guest is Scott, and he is been telling us a tale of woe in the first hour. Now, you were telling us just previous, and this is one of the questions I wanted to ask you about when you were talking previously, and you were talking about. You were in court and you asked the judge, I can't remember exactly your wording, but what was that? Was that the disqualified driving? And if it was the disqualified driving, why did you not just say, I'm not disqualified. So why did you not play their game? You know,
well, I did.
Being an easier way.
We recorded it actually, and
You should really admit that.
I got him to admit that with the evidence in front of him, all I could possibly be prosecuted for was driving with no L plates.
Right, okay.
But he just went on. He left the court with the clerk of the court. The both of them went out, had a little chit chat, and he come back and he'd done me for driving whilst disqualified and no insurance.
Right, this is where I'm confused. Right, driving without L plates. I mean, you said earlier on that you had a full license, a full driving license.
I had a full license. I was unaware of any court order. Yeah.
Right. So you
LA, right?
You just
12 years old.
Stop. Let's just stop. Let's just start from. Let's just go through your driving record. Okay. So you had a driving license. You passed your driving test, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, and as far as you're concerned, you weren't disqualified. You'd not been to a court or anything like that. But something obviously took place in your absence. Were you moving about a lot? Was the
No, not in my absence. No. I was disqualified from driving for 12 months. And when I got disqualified, I started kicking off in the court.
Right, what were you disqualified for?
Dangerous driving.
Okay.
Right, but fucking hell, mate. How that come about? Oh, Christ almighty.
But it's another tale as well.
You speak about bad luck. Here's another fucking fairy tale for you, right?
Okay.
I was driving into my road, and I drove into my road. There was nothing coming. There was nothing in my way. And I stopped to speak to a fella who I knew fitted railings, and I had some railings I wanted fitted. So I had a chat to him, and I turned around, and cars drove up to my bumper. I was in a big Sprinter van. I couldn't reverse onto a main road, and the guy wanted me to reverse, and I asked him to basically go on the pavement and we'll shimmy past each other, yeah? And he refused to do so. So I drove right up to his car, and he wouldn't move. So I got out, and I said to him, I only live there, mate. I can't reverse onto a road. I either go on the fucking pavement or reverse back. I'm not moving. I said, aren't you? I said, you're a fucking knobhead. So he flings the door to try and hit me in the face with the door, yeah? So I said, oh, is it like that, is it? So I booted his door, right? Put a massive dent in his door, and it shattered his window at the same time, and he's rang the police. Well, basically, when we get to court, he walks into court, he says, yeah, my name is such and such. I'm a money laundering investigation officer.
Okay.
So I did overreact, I must admit, you know, I did overreact. At the time, I was on medication for depression and that. And I did overreact. I'd only just started taking the tablets. Maybe, you know, I went to the doctor because I was fucking angry all the time, yeah? I was depressed and I was angry all the time. And I went to the doctor and I told the doctor, and he put me on tablets. But it was only a couple of days prior to this incident, yeah? And I did, I overreacted, flipped. I could have done it differently. I'd do it differently now. But turns out he's a money laundering investigation officer. And he said that I shoved him all the way down the road with my car. I shoved him all the way down the road. And as I was pushing him, he managed to turn his wheel and slot into a parking space. Which, when you try it, you know, the laws of physics, it doesn't happen like that. Well, anyway, on the first hearing, there was 3 magistrates, and one of the magistrates didn't want to not be at the second hearing. He set a date. He goes, I won't be here. I'm on holiday. I want to be in the thing. They went, no, we're going to deal with it. So that day, I looks out in the street, and guess who's in the street? It's that judge.
Which judge?
The judge who wasn't going to be at the second hearing, who wanted to be at the second hearing. So he's come out and he's had a look for himself, right? And he wasn't at the second hearing because he was on holiday and he wanted to be at the second hearing. Anyway, I got done for driving whilst disqualified, done for dangerous driving, and he said, we're disqualifying you for 12 months. 12 months for dangerous driving. So I kicked off and started screaming and shouting and calling him all kinds of names and that, because I was still, you know, angry. And I got kicked out of the court. So what's happened is they've made the other order for me to sit an extended driving test, but apparently that comes automatically, right? So anyway, after that hearing, this hearing was on the Tuesday or the Wednesday or something. That Sunday morning, I'm in the park, right, with the dogs, right, at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's pissing it down, and I mean absolutely pissing it down. Guess who approaches me?
That judge?
That judge.
Is he? Were he smoking?
He said to me, "What happened?" And I told him. And he goes, "Are you going to appeal it?" And to be fair, right, when I booted his door in, I must have looked scary. His daughter was in the car. She was crying and that, yeah. And I just took it on the chin, yeah, because of, you know what I mean, don't you? Well, anyway, I took it on the chin. And he said, "I'm going to appeal it." I said, "No, I'm not."
You're saying you took it on the chin, but then you
took the disqualification on the chin, not an extended driving test.
No, yeah, but you say that you took that on the chin, but then you're talking and you're openly admitting that you were aggressive, not only at the incident itself, and now you've added the factor, the aggravating factor that his daughter was there with him, and we're not party. We don't know what happened, whether you pushed him back or whatever.
No, you sat in the car.
You've openly admitted that you booted his car, his car, and his window is smashed. Then you've admitted that when you were in the court, you kicked off, which is the reason why you were outside the court. I mean, there seems to be a pattern developing.
Anyway, right, I bumped into him in the park.
Nicely sidestepped. Go on, carry on.
And all I can, pattern, yeah, like I said to you, I'm no angel. I was suffering from depression. I was angry. I went to the doctors, did I not? I got put on medication. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, I bumped into this judge. He's approached me in the park, and he's asked me, and he said to me, "Am I going to appeal?" And I say the reason I didn't appeal is because of the way I was. I took the punishment on the chin for the way I acted. All I can surmise, right, is that this order, the reason it was never issued, was because he's gone into the court records and he's put something with it.
Well, it's similar things happened with Ben Gilroy. There was an issue with the order that was given over a contempt of court thing, and that never got issued properly either. But they still ended up bringing that up in court, and Ben's in jail with it.
Mm.
So these people aren't interested in what you're going to say.
No.
You were. Everything you've done, Scott. Everything you've done, Scott, people can look with hindsight and say everything you've done was a waste of time, but you wouldn't have learned anything if you'd not tried anything.
Exactly.
And when you're in that situation where you're trying to learn at the same time as trying to perform the stuff, it's a difficult place. If you haven't got good people around you as well, it's even worse because, living on your own, you can easily turn to a drink or anything like that. And these people crave you to do that. They almost bully you into what are his addictions? Let's see if we can get him with this. I've seen all different angles from a lot of different people, not just from my own personal experience. So, where will you go with this now then?
So I was a person back then, I was a person back then. Now I'm not a person, I'm a man. I know my standings, I'm a man.
So where will you go with this from now?
Where am I going with this now? Well, from all the evidence I've compiled, it's time now really to take the private copper that stopped me to court to answer some questions and to make claim against him.
Did any of the police do anything? The police?
Well, the police, right? I obviously, for the driving whilst disqualified, it's what I call a malicious prosecution on a 12-year-old unissued order, yeah, which falls out of the Limitations Act, Section 20 or 24 of the Limitations Act. Any judgment after 6 years, and that's any judgment. But they still went ahead and prosecuted, yeah?
Yeah.
Malicious prosecution. What was the question again? I've just lost my chain of thought there.
It's just where you're going to go with
Where
this.
am I going to go? Yeah, we're going to pull him into court. It's time he comes into court now. Explain his statement.
That's for the private security, the
private constable, yeah.
Right.
And the inspector and the member of the legal team, because there's conflicting evidence. You see, I want to know why they're saying I was caught on the ANPR when they received, because I went through the tunnel at 10 o'clock. So if I was caught on the ANPR, yeah, what they're saying, then there'll be a record of that at 10 o'clock, won't there? In his statement, he's received intelligence at 21 minutes past 9. An ANPR will only photograph whatever passes through its scope at that particular moment in time. It won't register it at 10 o'clock when you've been through it at 21 minutes past 9, will it?
No. Well, it should be interesting when you take it forward. Go on, Jason.
I was just going to say it's and if you were disqualified, then perhaps that's why you're on ANPR.
No. What they've said then, right, is they've gone and done a PNC check and found conflicting evidence. Like I say, I was stopped in June the day I got the car. Spent 40 minutes in the car. Yeah, I gave my correct full name. I gave the name of the person. Right. I've got an email there following a subject access request from Merseyside Police, I think it is. And the email says that when I was stopped, I gave the name Andrew Smythe, not Scott Andrew Smythe. Yeah? So I kept the blue stop slip. And on the blue stop slip, it says my full name. So they lied. They also said that the DVLA records are being updated as they speak. Now, hats off to the DVLA, right? It took them from the 1st of September, well, for the 31st of August to sometime in December before they altered my driving entitlement, yeah? Now, they altered my driving entitlement without even going back to court, right? And what they did is they issued me a full license when I, right, I'll start again, right. I was unaware of the extended driving test. They didn't ask me for my license in court that day, right, back in 12 years ago. So when the disqualification was over, I still had my license. I never bothered applying for the license. And I had a little bump, right? And the guy tried to claim, it was in a petrol station, and he cracked his taillight, literally just cracked it. And he tried to claim whiplash. The police got involved, and the police said to me, you haven't got a license. I said, what do you mean I haven't got a license? He said, you haven't applied for it since you were disqualified. I said, well, I didn't need to because I've still got it. He goes, no, you need to apply for it. So I applied for it in 2012, yeah?
Okay.
So on this thing, the DVLA changed my entitlement from full to disqualified and then to provisional, yeah, without any form being filled in and without any fee, yeah, and without any court hearing.
But if you've been disqualified, right, and then they have then said to you, you know, they have said whether you were there or not, but the order's been made that you need to have an extended driving test. You need to take your driving test again. Then of course you're going to get it's going to say that you've got a provisional.
Well, I didn't. I had a full license.
But that's you didn't, did you? You've been disqualified.
Me a full license because the order was never issued.
But you've been disqualified.
Yeah, but the order was never issued.
But how do you know the order was never issued? I mean,
because the DVLA have got confirmation they were unaware of it.
They were unaware of the order.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Everyone was unaware of the order. It was never.
So if they were unaware of the order, then surely they would have said to you when you reapplied for your license back after your disqualification, you would have. They would have
license, fella.
The what? Sorry.
They sent me a full license.
Right, so you've got the full license, so it's there.
Yeah. But then, following this malicious going into my records, they all coerced together and changed it without any form, without any fee, and without any court case, from full to provisional. Using my application in 2012, right, to warrant it.
It's easy to do. Issued in error. That's all they'll do. Issued in error, and they just redo all the orders. All it is a stamp, Scott. That's it.
I want to know why the thing wasn't issued, and I've got a right to know, haven't I?
Say that again. I didn't get that.
I've been accused of something, haven't I? Driving whilst disqualified. Yeah. Yeah. A man gets, by law, can see his accuser. Yeah.
A man by what? What?
By law, a man can see his accuser.
Yes.
I've not seen my accuser yet.
But you've just said you were disqualified.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, then
I was disqualified and I applied for my license. I got a full license back sent to me.
Right. So
right. So you got that bit. Yeah? You got that bit. Right. And then someone's gone into my record to stop me from getting to court, haven't they?
Right.
Yeah. And they found this unissued order and give it to the tunnel police only.
Right.
Who then run a malicious prosecution on it.
And did they drop that, or have they prosecuted you?
I got convicted.
That's where the £5,000 coming into it.
No, the £5,000 comes in from not having a landlord license.
Right. It's coming at you on a lot of angles.
It's mental, mate.
Why? What was the reason for them giving you? Look, I'm trying to monitor chat room and all sorts. I've got people messaging me and things. But how would they think that you were being a landlord without a license? It was
in a landlord licensing area, and it was a what was it? It was a test area. Do you know what I mean? But when I went down to the council with the tenant, they didn't tell me it was a landlord licensing area, or would have put the cost of the license on the rent.
Right. Okay. So you were renting out a house. You just didn't know.
Didn't know. No.
No. Right. Okay. That's fair enough. I didn't know that somebody in the house, or whether it was just the fact that you got the house, that it was in probate and what have you. But yeah, come on. You carry on. You carry on.
Which one now, the driving license or the landlord license?
Well, let's go on the driving license.
Driving license is quite simple, mate. You know, I got disqualified and I was not told about an order, right? The judge, who was not at the hearing, right, where they made the conviction, he's come and met me in the park. Then he's gone back and he's wiped that order. He's took that order and he's destroyed it. He's done whatever he's done with it, yeah? It's not been issued to the DVLA, and I put that down to him. So when I've applied for my license, unaware of an extended driving test, I've got a full license back. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I've been driving ever since. And then they've gone into my record, found this 12-year-old unissued order, which falls out of the Limitations Act anyway, yeah? And used that, right? But they couldn't prove it at the time. Couldn't prove it at the time, so they said they stopped me for no insurance. Yeah. Because if they'd stopped me for no license, I'd have been questioning it straight away. But they knew, because I'd been stopped about 3 times prior to this, that the car wasn't on the MID.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah.
And if I hadn't got to court, it would have gone in the council's favour. That's the bottom line here. And that's awoken me to all the person thing, the birth certificate thing, all the fraud, all the bill payment thing, everything. It's opened my mind to absolutely everything.
Well, the burden of proof, they've put you now in the burden of proof position, because whatever it is they believe they've done, even if they know they've done wrong, they won't touch it. It will be down to you to take this claim forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's what they do. It's what they're doing with all the gas warrants. They put people into those positions of burden of proof. Yeah.
Marston's. I was talking about Marston's as well, wasn't I? You know, we said to them, you know, we'll accept your offer, answer these questions, you know, show me the warrant. You need to show me the warrant. You've stated in your correspondence you've got a warrant. Show me the warrant.
The warrant is that have they been to your house yet?
They came to the house. They've been twice. They haven't come back.
That's the warrant. That's the warrant. They've got a warrant of execution. Unless they get in peacefully, they've got the warrant is a warrant of execution. That's like everybody's got the implied right to come and knock on your door until you remove that.
I think they stated they had a warrant from the court.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's only a warrant of execution. It means they've got the ability to come and knock on your door. They can't boot your door in to extract goods for monetary purposes unless they've already been in the house. Then they can break in. Yeah.
Well, they never got in. And he's produced something which wasn't a warrant, you know, like from the court. Some whatever. Basically said to them, you know, if you can't produce the warrant, then you're demanding money by menace.
Well, that's what they're all doing. That's what they're all doing. All these private companies are demanding with menaces. There's no difference to what these companies are doing as me going next door and asking my neighbour to move out because I want their house now. If they refuse, I turn up with a few mates. There's no difference to what these people are doing. They've no authority.
You'd be all right, Webby. You'd be able to do that if you were Jewish. You'd be able to go next door and say, "Get out of your fucking house. This is my house. God fucking promised it me. Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't."
Going off on Israel.
But we know it's a contract, basically. You know, and the bottom line is, you know, if you can't produce the warrant, you're demanding money by menace. Yeah, you know, you need to cease and desist. Or we'll make a claim against you for the amount that you're claiming.
That's what I mean, Scott. They're that cocky and confident that they don't think that anybody will do this. Nobody will take them to court.
Oh, well, we're planning on it, like.
That's what I'm saying, though. They don't expect you to. They've had it all too easy for such a long time. I don't know if it might be worth having a look at Section 26 of the Criminal Courts and Justice Act. With it being a private copper, it might be the legislation. There might be something in that legislation.
It's against them. Private copper, though, Webby.
Say again.
Is there such thing as a private copper?
Yeah.
Well, they're all private.
Yeah, well, you got your train, haven't you? You got your transport police.
Yeah, but they're
private.
Well, they're not the public sector, but they're all private companies. That's what I'm getting at. The
Duns and Bradstreet numbers, mate. I mean, do any of the listeners know about like Duns and Bradstreet and stuff like that? Are they knowledgeable? The listeners, like.
Yeah, we've had Gordon Bowden talking about that stuff for quite a few times.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't want to get it unless you want to go into that as your next part of your subjects, mate. It's going to get quite deep.
I mean, I'd probably just tickle across a lot of things. You know, it's just when you're awakened, though. You know,
how many friends has it made you?
I didn't have many friends anyway, to be honest with you.
I don't get invited to parties anymore.
Hey, there you go, house.
I'm a miserable I'll get anyway. I haven't go to no parties anymore.
We don't do parties, do we? We have parties on every Monday and Tuesday here on Raconteurs News, 7 till 9. You'll find us. Give us a like in there. In the chat room, please. Just give us a like. We like it. You know what I mean? You know, when we've got quite a good amount of likes, and I know we're small fry compared to other people and other organisations, but when we get quite a few likes on our videos, I go to bed with a little bit of a stiffy. So if you could do that, it would help. It'd help me. Certainly, with my blood flow and all that sort of thing, because you know that I need to keep up with that. Let's see who's in the chat room.
Where you're at with your spiritual.
See that again.
This, you know, like this awakening, and there's a guy, he watched me videos on YouTube, and he got in touch, and he's a good skin, and he's really, really knowledgeable, and he said to me, you know, you're not going to be able to avoid, this is spiritual as well, you're not going to be able to avoid the spiritual. Have you ever covered anything like that?
Spiritual stuff, we do it all the time, mate. We do it all the time. I mean, we're here.
Not like Jesus Christ and
no, I know what you mean. Personal, spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
We do it all the time. I mean, if you have a look back at our last show, we were talking a lot about stuff, you know, personal stuff to ourselves, and that's what I think spiritual is. Is stuff that's personal to you. You know, I don't.
Universe.
I do enjoy, and I do think that it's useful to share your experiences with other people, but I don't think it's necessary to impose, you know, what you think onto other people.
Yeah.
What's your spiritual journey been like?
Mine? Well, it's just starting, I think. Ego, you know, ego was the and acceptance. Acceptance is the biggest part of spiritual, I think. You know,
acceptance of what?
Of things you've got no control over. Not trying to control them, you know, depending on your personality. Obviously, you know, if you're a control freak or whatever, you know, everyone's a control freak to a point, aren't they?
I know one or two.
You know,
but there are things that rather than there are things that you've got no control over, and rather than having an acceptance of it, somehow you've got to try and turn that to your advantage, or even if it's just your own in your head advantage, you know. But you've got to try and turn things that aren't in your control, and we've had lots of things that are not in our control, but you have to try and turn them into something positive, an advantage. So even things that you can't control, you can still use as meters, as you know, a way of looking at your life and seeing things, and it doesn't hurt to see things from someone else's point of view either. You know, Lee Garrett obviously is a fucking bell end. He's obviously got issues. He's obviously got something wrong with him. There is something wrong with him. For fucking hell, for God's sake, look at this. Look at this. Would a paedophile wear a vest? No. It's fucking obvious, isn't it, that you fucking bell end? You know, all I'm saying is this spiritual stuff. There are things that are outside forces that you've got no control over. I've got no control over whether Lee Garrett fucking says I'm a fucking paedophile and I interview rapists and I fucking do this and I do. I've got no control over that. But I don't let it affect me. Apart from, I like to, in the way that I like to just like try to get some humour out of it, because that's all that's in there. You know, when he says things like that, when he calls me a troll and then puts it all over Facebook that I'm this, me and Webby are this and that and fucking other, you know, if I react to that in an angry way, he's done his job.
Well, yeah.
If we react with humour, and we react with fucking, you know, calling him what he is, which is a fucking, just a joke, really. And anybody that follows his work, in fact, it's not even his work. It's Mark Steele's fucking feeding at him. He's Mark Steele's bitch. And it just, you know, if we don't allow that to control us in a bad way. Like last night when I read them things, my missus said to me, are you all right? And I said, yeah, fucking hell, who gives a fuck about that stupid little cunt? You know, I was much more hurt when somebody said that they got some shipyard rope that they could give me if I needed some dental floss. That hurt me more than that fucking dick. But yeah, the spiritual thing.
We could always use some big words and confuse him, you know, like pituitary retard or something like that. You might be able to go look that up.
Not it or so or but. Wouldn't that confuse him?
Sorry?
He said use some big words. I said, well, like it.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah, he's special. He's special, all right. Well, where else would you like to go? You said you touched on the gas and stuff like that.
The gas and that. I mean, it just goes to courts and it goes to bailiffs, and then you're just dealing with bailiffs. And if you know what you're doing, they'll go away, won't they?
So have you got a standard meter still?
I've got a gas safety certificate the other day because they were on about applying for a warrant.
Yeah, but is it so? You've got a standard meter still?
Yeah.
And have they not gone for a warrant yet? Have you not? Have you not got?
They were applying for a warrant. I sent a gas safety certificate to the courts and to them.
Yeah, they're not interested in that, Scott. They'll go for the warrant. You will have to go because they'll get the warrant anyway, and then it's dealing with it on the doorstep. Then you'll have police there, you'll have bailiffs there. But
you can't get a warrant unless there's a safety issue.
Mate, they're not listening to that. That's exactly correct, but they're not interested. The warrants are not actually being issued for the correct things, but they're turning up with pieces of paper that says warrant, and a policeman does not. It's not a requirement to understand.
I'll be able to deal with them, fella.
Well, they're just going to back them up. That's what I'm saying. You're going to face it on the doorstep.
Yeah.
You will face it on the doorstep, Scott. They're not letting this go. They're not going to give in to people. I've drawn a line across Nottingham. Anything south of Nottingham, they've ramped everything up. We had a lad arrested, his keys taken off him. The agent let in to change the meter. Then he was de-arrested and handed his keys back. That's a Section 26. Copper every day of the week. He's facing jail. But it's people taking that next step.
Yeah. That's what. Not as general executive, though. Not as a person.
Is what? Sorry.
They've been notified, put on notice from the estate.
Yeah, they're not going to operate with that, Scott.
Not as a person. They've been noticed anyway. We're gonna.
But that's what I'm saying.
It's a great test for my estate. This now. It's a great test for the money I've paid to have this thing set up. You know what I mean? We'll see.
Well, yeah. I mean, I hope so, but I don't hold too much hope because I've just seen what these people do. There's no honour in them. There's no integrity amongst any of them.
Yeah, we know this.
It's absolutely, it's abhorrent how these companies are working. I mean, Her Majesty's Courts and Tribunal Service is the only service that you must have. I don't want to. The B&Q's manager doesn't come running out when I go past B&Q, drag me in and make me buy an hammer and some nails.
No.
Yeah, HMRCTS do. Yeah. This is HMCTS even. This is what you're up against because you're correcting what you're saying. People will always say, well, that's free man with land stuff. They're always going to say that. The free man stuff is correct.
It is,
It's just going to a county court and doing what you did. They're not interested. I mean, all right, you might have shit the first judge up, but they're only going to put judges there who know what the game is. I've seen it. I've had personal experience of it, Scott. These people will not give it up. I mean, Christ, I hope that you do be that one who slips through, but these people aren't going to give this up. It's a £2.3 billion profit for one company, one particular year. They're not going to give that up. Yet, all you can do is set your tin ducks up. So everything what you're doing, I think they'll just completely ignore. But at least when you do take that claim forward, you can point out, on this occasion I did this, then I did this, then this, then this, then this, then this. And then you show harassment, you show no integrity, you show fraud. I mean, the fact that they are in breach of bills of exchange and they're relying it all on that commercial aspect is why everything is commercial for these courts, because that's where they have jurisdiction over all commerce.
Exactly. Civil. It's all civil. It's all contract. It's all contract, mate.
Some interesting stuff coming out right now.
As long as you're aware, it's contract. It's business. It's joint there.
Well, that's just it. Everything is presumed, and especially in their jurisdiction, everything is presumed. So in that, just in that fact,
of law, isn't it?
Well, no, it's all presumed. It's all presumed. Every property in this land is already as a presumed commercial property. Yeah. It's already presumed, because what happens is everything is commercial, so everything is liable, everything is commercial. Then comes exemption. You don't have liability after exemption. You have liability, then you have exemption. If you've already got exemption, you don't have any liability, so it doesn't come into it. So every property in this land is all commercial, and they have full jurisdiction. But that, in that sense, that means you've got to go into a court and rebut every presumption that you could possibly think of. That's absolutely ridiculous. So in other words, we should have interpreters to say, well, this is what this means, and this is what this means. And instead of that, we've had to work it out for ourselves. But then they say, well, you've no standing because you don't exist in our system.
You're you're dead. You're a corporate soul.
Yeah, but it's not even going to that. I mean, there's a corporate soul still has a representative. They're not hearing you because they don't have to. Everything that's got to be in the paperwork.
Exactly. Paperwork precedes everything.
Scott, I'm telling you now that you'll find the best answers. That you keep going with what you do, but you'll get some of your best answers looking in their acts.
Yeah,
Look straight into their acts, because
all the answers are in the acts.
And if they come to you and say, we're sanctioning you under this section of this act, go to that section, read the act without the regulations. Take the regulations away, and that act cannot sanction. It's got to be beneficial to man and woman. It's when they bring the regulations in. Well, only commercial agreements have regulations. So they tell you everything is regulated and everything is commercial.
Absolutely. Yeah, but mate, they're ruthless, aren't they?
It's listen, I thought, fuck it.
Lasting power of attorneys and wills, that's something people need to be aware of. And even then, your lasting power of attorney can be taken off you without it even going to court by the court of protection.
I'm still trying to show people that they've given the power of attorney away to the banks, and we don't know just how many documents they're actually executing in our names.
They're public trustees, aren't they? These bank managers and these court officials, and they're all public trustees.
See, they've always got the fallback.
And you're a beneficiary.
Consent. They've always got that fallback consent because of
admit to the all caps. When you go into court, you don't admit to the surname.
Well,
touch it.
See, Scott, I've given up with all that. I've given up with it. Yeah, I've given up with it because I'm not getting anywhere in their courts. I want to see them squirm. I want to see them have to do some work. We turned the council tax tribunal over on Wednesday. Hands tied. End of. That was it. As soon as we said your hands are tied, all the panel were like that, and that was it. It was done, and that's all in their own legislation. That's not. I've no contract with you. I'm not liable. It's showing it's showing in their legislation how they've dressed it up and dragged you everywhere around. Look at this and look at this. And it still comes back to commercial property.
Commercial property, yeah.
It's so I've no need to go anywhere else. I've no need to do anything else. All I've got to do is go, not liable. It was the same with the gas. I've got to check. What do you want me to do? The only thing I'm doing wrong is procedural. I'm doing a procedural error. I'm trying to, under the bills of exchange, I'm trying to fulfill my obligations. Yeah. If they've actually sent me a joint gyro, then they fulfilled theirs, but they do not fulfill their obligations when they don't set my debt off. Because that's what their job is as my agent. I'm sick of these companies that are sprouting up at the minute saying that we can offer you better deals on your gas. All of these companies are stealing all your equity, but they're giving you better deals. We won't steal as much as British Gas, and we won't steal as much as Npower. We'll just steal a little bit. Yeah. And people have got to get over that. Well, I hate to use the term wake up because me and Jason have had this conversation so much.
But it is wake up, isn't it?
Well, until it kicks you in the balls and punches you in the face, would you have woke up? Would I have woke up?
No, I wouldn't have. I nearly woke up when I had 2 houses, and I discovered racing motorbikes. I wanted to sell the rented house, but couldn't sell the rented house because I'd have to have paid capital gains tax at 40%. And I thought, hang on a minute, I paid tax on the van, tax on the fuel, tax on all the materials. I did all the work, and you want to take 40 grand off me because there's 100 grand profit. You take the piss. But then I went racing, didn't I? I sold my house instead, moved into the rented one. I went racing and become a sheep again. And it was only with me mum, you know, what happened with me mum, that's what woke me up. You know. As for the gas and that, I stamped up the bank gyro credit slip, sent it off to them. They never sent it back within the 72 hours. Then they started threatening us, and all we've been doing is saying, well, look, send us the presentment back because that's got my signature on it, yeah? You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's a proper instrument. Send that back and then we'll talk. And they haven't sent it back. And, you know, well, you haven't sent it back within 72 hours, it's considered paid. And our ledger now shows it paid.
It is, but where's the burden of proof lie? Where's the burden of proof lie?
Where did the burden of proof lie?
Yeah.
That it's been paid?
Yeah.
On them?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's on you. That's what they're doing to people. They're just going to ignore you. They'll go for this warrant. They'll turn up at your door. You're going to have to deal with it there. Sometimes they, you know, I've got rid of them. Other people have got rid of them at the door. You might even turn up for the warrant and they'll withdraw it in the corridor because somebody doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. And rather than risk anything and panic, they'll just withdraw it in the corridor. We've had dozens withdrawn in corridors. It's just they've got into a position now where not one company will risk letting this cat out the bag. Would you? Would you be the one who let the cat out of a 2.3 billion?
What you need to do is you did make an agreement. This is private, you know. It goes no further.
What do you mean?
But I mean, how are they going to hide it? Because it's all over the internet now. I've seen a guy do it with stamps.
It's not. They're not hiding it. They're just not.
Stamps.
They're just ignoring it. They're not hiding anything. They know the game's up, but they're just going to keep stealing until it's stopped.
Until it stops, yeah.
And it won't stop until people stop it. Yeah, and while Strictly Come Dancing is still important, and football and rugby and everything is still more important, then nothing will change. No, it comes down to people at the end of the day. And like I said, it wasn't a factor of the stuff you're talking about isn't correct. It was the fact that there's no point me going in there. They're laughing at me. You know, these people phoned armed police on me and everything. These people are laughing their heads off at me. I need to see them start acting like children. I want to make them squirm. And that's what it was in the end, because there was no, every time I read the act, I went, it's beneficial to me. There's no reason why I shouldn't say Mr. Paul Webster. It doesn't matter. I can still use that. And I thought there's got to be people doing it on the inside with legislation and others on the outside. It's like people who are, chain themselves at fracking sites. We need those people because, as me and Jason said, me and him aren't going to be able to go and do that. So we need everybody to do all their bits. Just put spanners into the system. That's the basic part of it for me.
Just fuck them. That's what I say. They just fucking they can fucking bollocks. Listen, I just want to tell everybody in the chat room as well. You only get half a point for kicked you in the bollocks, and half a point for punches you in the face on the web bingo and the web contest, the Webby contest that's going on in there. Look, we've got about 10 minutes left. I don't know where you want to go. What do you want to do in this last 10 minutes? What would your message be to people? I mean, we've gone through a lot tonight, and it does appear a lot. You've gone through quite a lot which I've got to say, I want to be impartial. That I feel you could have avoided, but also I do feel you've been through a lot of stuff that couldn't be avoided, particularly the stuff with your mum and stuff like that. And of course, you've not got the at those particular points in time, you've not had the valuable knowledge that you've gained ever since. So, what do you want to do with this last 10 minutes? Is there a message? Or anything else you want to say?
Well, you know, anyone whose parents are getting old and possibly a little bit forgetful, repeat themselves. You know, I mean, it's hard, you see, you know, to try and tell your parents, you know, like, you need to do this, you need to do that, because they don't like being told, do they? Mine didn't anyway. You know,
no.
But I mean, if you can, the message across is protect your assets. You need to protect your assets.
Definitely. I mean, a lot of my friends are doing express private trusts.
Yeah.
Not the ecclesiastic one that you've done,
Yeah.
but the express private trust does exactly what it says on the tin. It puts everything at arm's length.
Yeah.
You just can't be touched. There's no charges being put on properties and things like that. That's what these companies are doing, because water's one of the easiest to if you wanted to ignore it. I know people who just not bothered for 16 years and just nobody, the water company don't bother them, they don't, nothing. But now, because especially if you're trying to challenge them by doing the gyro, they're now putting charges on people's property for a debt. Now, further down the line, Scott, it's obvious that they're never going to be able to pull that in. But when you realise that land registry through that commercial jurisdiction doesn't need your signature, doesn't need contract, all it needs is a county court stamp, and they just transfer it.
Yeah.
And I spoke to somebody legally trained at Preston at land registry, and I said, you're a paper clearing warehouse then, because you're not willing to look after me and my property as long as a county court says move that property title to them. And you just do it, and that's what they said.
Well, I've been in touch with the land registry several times saying that this, the property's now in our ledger, our manor roll book, and remove it from registration with the land registry. And they haven't done yet, mate. They're trying every trick in the book not to. It's not compulsory either, is it, to register property with the land registry?
It's not. I mean, it's actually meant to be beneficial for us. The system, the trust, and everything is meant to be. Everything about it is beneficial to us. It's just we don't know how to act because we are taught to act poorly. We're taught to act like children when we're adults.
Delinquents.
Yeah. And the factor is, if you keep sticking your hand in a fire and getting burnt, then what? How many times do people have to stop you? Yeah. I'm telling people now, the fact that you're working 3 jobs and paying your bills, you make the national debt worse. People have got to get their head around that.
Fucking hell, bumped into a mate of mine, used to play in bands and that, was on the dole for years and years and years, got himself a job, got himself a flat. He's had to give the flat up because he's now in debt and he moved back in with his mum. How fucking good is that?
We're all in debt. That's all we have.
Here's one as well. You know, the awakening thing, to make it dead simple for listeners and that, right? The Cestui Act was one thing, and I looked and how can it be missing, lost at sea? Yeah, there's one of the things. And then the other thing was the birth certificate was made aware of that. At the bottom it says not to be used for identification purposes. And then the and bit, and it's an add-on, isn't it? It is an add-on.
There's 2 birth certificates.
There's 2 birth certificates I've recently found out. Yeah, there's a born certificate and a birth certificate. Yeah. And then saying to me that your mother, she gives birth to you. What's a berth? It's a place where they park a ship, isn't it? Where do you stand in court? You stand in the dock. It's all maritime law, and they speak legalese as well. Stand under is actually understand. It actually means stand under. You're under my authority. The
thing is, the British legal system has been patented and trademarked and sold because it's so perfect. Because we have 8 words to describe one thing. There's a lot of fuckery that you can do with a language like that.
Yeah.
Do you want to just give your websites out again as well?
Yeah, I've got on Facebook. I've got Dementia Fraud. I've actually got a forum. There's some interesting bits and bobs on the forum. That's on Forum Motion, so it's dementiafraud.forummotion.com. And I've got public sector jobs worths on YouTube.
Right. Good stuff, mate.
Awesome.
I mean, you know, it's made me want to get off. You know, it's made me want to sell up and get off.
Where are you going to go, mate? Where are you going to go? It's fucking everywhere. You might as well stand and fight.
It's everywhere. There's a guy called Mike Clark. He's had a nightmare with the course protection. Like OPG.me, Mike's story. And he's transferred his driving license he's moved to Spain and he's had his driving license transferred. And he showed a picture of it, and I went, well, look, it's in all caps, mate. You're dead. Just the same as you are here in the UK.
Is he in Benidorm?
He's in Benidorm or something.
Yeah.
Mike Clark, yeah, he's
a mate of mine on Facebook.
Yeah.
Fucking jammy bastard in Benidorm while I'm fucking sat here. Fucking snow coming down. We were in t-shirts last week.
I know.
And then this week it's fucking snow coming down. Jesus Christ.
I bet you went out in your vest on all of those days as well.
You ask where it goes, there's a few minutes left. It would not be a Western country, put it that way. So it'd be the Far East, because I wouldn't go to the Middle East. I would fear being beheaded. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't fucking go any other place. Really, the Far East, because you've got the Philippines, Cambodia, Vietnam, Japan. It's all in and around there, isn't it?
Well, no, I've drawn my lines here, mate. I'm not. There's no way I'm going anywhere. I've just drawn the lines here. Let the cards fall where they may.
The thing about it, I mean, I've lived in Middle East. I lived in Middle East back in 1990, just after first Gulf War, and you know, I was treated like a king. I really was. People were throwing things at me. I was treated like a king, but the flip side to that is we only had to drive about an hour down the road between Dubai and Sharjah, and so we went from Dubai to Sharjah. And the weird thing about it was that right in the very middle there was a KFC. There was this long road in the desert, and right in the very middle, after you've been driving for half an hour, there were a KFC, and that was all you saw until you got to Sharjah.
The zoo's still in Sharjah.
Sorry?
The zoo, is it still in Sharjah? The zoo? They used to be in Sharjah in the 70s.
I don't know what we ended up at a public hanging. Turn back and go back, but but the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that you know, in those places, I would treat like a king. They treat their own people like shit. But you know, I was a white English DJ in Dubai, and I could do no wrong, and I would pay a fucking fortune, to be honest. They were a fucking. They just chuck fucking money at you and everything.
Oh, you're from the same company that gives them all the weapons, aren't you? That's why.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Start some more rumours off. I'm already a troll.
Well, you might as well be an arms dealer as well, mate.
Yeah. Theresa May's right-hand man.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's been.
It's the politicians. What a bunch of, you know. I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm no better than any man. I'm good at what I'm good at. But all I've ever seen is like Labour and Conservatives. And over the years, we've gone from like not seeing homeless on the street and all that to the fucking everyone being in debt, loads of homeless on the street, and they're getting richer. What's going on? That gets right up my fucking hooter.
But while you've got EastEnders and
yeah, I know, mate. I don't watch telly.
Yeah, whatever you've got EastEnders and oven chips, you're fucking done, aren't you?
Oven chips, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. They put the oven chips in, they fucking sit down, watch EastEnders. By the time EastEnders are finished, oven chips are finished. They pour some microwave beans on top, give it to the fucking kid who's sat in front of a fucking iPad.
Yeah.
And, you know, the bought from the White House at about 1 billion fucking % interest, and this fucking kid sat there, and the kid's getting fat. They don't know why they're getting fat. They don't eat much. All they ever eat is fucking oven chips and beans.
What's more important inside that phone than your kid?
The what? Sorry.
What's more important inside a phone than your kid? I was behind this kid and this kid's going, Mum, 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 and she's just on the phone. He's going, Mum, Mum, and he went, Mum. And she turned around and went, fucking what you fucking want?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I felt like fucking punching her in the back of the head, mate. Really?
Oh, right. Fucking hell, I thought you meant punch kid in back and fucking head.
Mum. Right, the
Fucking
back
bugging me while I'm on the phone.
Wake up, you fucking kid wants you. Get your head out of that fucking phone.
Have you sought any help for this anger issue that you've got, Scott?
Yeah, fucking banned from driving, fucking had a go and fucking yeah.
I'm chilled, mate.
We're good here. We're good old lefties, righties, Hitler sympathisers, paedophiles, fucking trolls. We're just about everything here at Raconteurs News. That's all we are.
And now you're angry bastards as well.
No, we're actually not.
We were last year. We were all angry bastards last year.
Yeah, it can get you angry though sometimes, can't it? To be fair,
well,
I've had a shit day. I told you about me day. Imagine a post in the middle of a field, and you're running on the perimeter of the field to lift the post.
Oh, Cookie's just gone live.
Cookie is going live. Come on. Oh, we are just about done. Come here, Watson. Watson.
Did you just smash your dog's face into the desk?
And
there he is. There you go, lad.
Hello, mate.
Oh. So, listen, thank you very much to our guest tonight.
You're welcome. Mine's not well, I told you, didn't I? He's got congestive heart failure.
Yeah, you were telling me earlier on.
I thought he was dead this morning when I got up. He didn't even open his eyes or nothing. I was like, oh, shit.
Poor lad.
Big bull terrier it is, you know, the English.
Yeah.
He's mine. I bred him. I've had him for 20 years, you know. He's my boy. He's not well, mate. It's horrible. It's horrible.
No.
As you can see, as you can see with this little fella, I can understand. I mean, we've only had him a year. He's only a year old, so hopefully we've got a lot more years in front of us. But you know, I can completely understand what you're going through, and I know Webby can as well. So we really, you've got our thoughts, and I'm sure everyone in the chat room as well. Listen, it's been great. Great. It's been great having you on. Thanks to you, Scott. Thank you to Webby. Thanks to everyone in the chat room. We'll be back tomorrow night. Last word to you, Webby, before we.
Thanks, Paul.
No, thanks for coming on, Scott, and telling us your story. Like we always say, we love people coming on who have gone through some stuff and learned some things and tell us what they were doing. And, you know, it's almost just trying to give a bit of inspiration to people who may not be able to see that light at the end of the tunnel, but telling you a bit of knowledge gives you a lot of strength.
Well, knowledge is power, man. The pen is mightier than the sword. Protect your assets. Make sure you lock them away.
Some new names in the chat room tonight, so a big thanks to them for joining us. Rip Skull and Steve Owens, but there's some new names in the chat room, so thanks to Mickey Finn as well, and Sui Generous. Thank you for joining us.
Mickey. He leaves comments on my videos. Hi, Mick. Thanks for your comments.
There you go. Brilliant. Right. Thanks very much. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow night. We've gone over again. We're terrible. We're going to get done by Ofcom. We might get shut down.